Hi guys, it's Ariel. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. Something really significant happened to me. I'm sure you guys can gather by the title of today's video. And in order for me to move forward in posting on YouTube and in sharing my life with you guys, I feel like I have to close this chapter. And so that is what today's video is going to be about. I moved to France about 6 years ago, and for years when I got here, my life was chaotic. There were the annual visas that took 6 months each to apply for. There was this constant stress of needing to find an apartment and to move all of my belongings that I had to do twice a year because where I lived was dependent on my school schedule. And I felt really lonely for the first couple years because I had moved to a place where I knew absolutely no one. About 3 years ago, that changed because I decided to move to Paris and I really outlined goals for myself. Find a job, join a sports team to make friends, and move into an apartment that you can make yours. And I did all this, and I succeeded, and I was finally not only settled, but stable. I joined a startup in Paris as a business planner, and to be perfectly honest, it was craziness. If you have ever worked for a company with sort of like a startup culture, you would know that you are basically signing yourself up to be overworked and stressed all the time about performance. But it was a job and it was Paris and I was just happy to be there, to be honest. And job security was never something that I really worried about. You know, I was good at what I was doing. I'm a hard worker, and the services that the company that I was working for provided really just boomed during confinement and the pandemic. But thankfully, you know, the world started to open back up, and on the business end of things, it sort of took a turn. And as a business planner, you know, working with numbers all day, you can imagine that this is something that I could see coming from a mile away. So just out of precaution, I preemptively started to look into my whole visa situation because I was really worried that if I did ever lose my job, I would also lose the right to reside in France as well, just because I was on a working visa. I was lucky in the sense because my family immigrated from Italy to Canada, which meant that I was eligible to apply for Italian citizenship. I always knew that I wanted to move to Europe and eventually back to Italy, so this whole Italian citizenship process was something that I thought a lot about. I had started it with my dad years prior to this moment, and I mention this because my dad's help in this process was completely integral to me being able to live my dream today. But anyways, this whole process took like 7 years, so I don't want you guys to think that I just woke up one morning and was worried about job security and applied for citizenship and everything was sorted right away. But it was when I started to see red flags and be a little bit more concerned about whether or not I would have a job in a year that my dad and I kind of put the pedal to the metal to get the citizenship process figured out, which we eventually did. And that's how I today don't have any visa problems. In parallel, things were looking worse and worse at work until eventually the higher-ups at this company decided to move forward with a layoff citing economic reasons. And I am forever grateful to French labor laws and legislation for what happened next. In France, you can't just lay people off because you want to. It's a very lengthy and time-consuming process with a lot of government oversight. There's a lot of laws and legislations around this, and there are major things that need to be done in order to ensure that a mass amount of people don't all of a sudden find themselves with the inability to put food on their table or to pay rent. Before anything happens, you actually have to ask the French government for permission to do a layoff. You need to show actual reasons why a layoff is being used as a complete absolute resort. Like if you're citing economic reasons, you need to show what those economic reasons are. You really can't just lay people off one morning because you want to. You do have to ask permission in a sense. The next thing that has to be done is that you have to give your employees and the unions, I believe it's 4 months notice. So before the layoff even happens, you have to give people like a significant amount of notice. And this is key for a lot of reasons. I mean, first and foremost, you are informing people of this monumental decision that has been made that completely affects their lives and their ability to pay for things they need to live. But on top of that, you also have to have this 4-month period to be able to negotiate with the unions that represent the workers in order to determine the layoff conditions. And during this period when the negotiations are taking place and the conditions of the layoff are being discussed, there is also the involvement of the government, because there needs to be full transparency in order to determine fair layoff conditions. There does have to be full financial transparency in order for the government to look at what's being proposed and be like, yes, this is fair to give to all of these employees that will be laid off. And obviously the unions are there to support and advocate for their workers. Once you're laid off, the company has to abide by a notice period. For more senior employees, this notice period is 3 months, and for everyone else, it's 2 months. And during this notice period, which happens once you're laid off, your company has to continue paying your salary at 100% during that notice period. So you've been informed 4 months prior, you are laid off, and then you move into your notice period where you continue to receive 100% of your salary. Once that notice period is up, you then go to what they call a congé de reclassement, which in English is called the reclassification leave. And this period is between 4 and 12 months. And during this time, your previous company does have to pay you a type of compensation, and the lowest amount of compensation that you can receive is 65% of your past salary. Now, I'm giving you the minimums, which is 65% for 4 months, but I didn't receive the minimum, and most people don't receive the minimum. Again, these are big negotiation points between the company and the unions, and ultimately, when the governing body sees the layoff package and what's being proposed for all those who'll be laid off, they are also in tandem looking at the financial records of this company to determine if whether or not what is being proposed is fair, and they can reject that if they think that it's not fair to all those who are being laid off. Now, the goal of the reclassification leave is to help you transition back into the workforce, and your previous employer has to support you in this transition. And I'm not sure what the minimums are for this or what the requirements are, but I'll just let you know what happened in my case. So my past company gave us 4 options. We could either find a job, we could go back to school, we could search for a job internally with the company if there are any other positions available in another country or in France, and then the 4th option was to open our own business. And each of these options came with not just financial aid, but also the possibility to ask for educational aid. And what I mean by this is that, let's say, for example, once you've been laid off, you decide that you want to become a submarine technician, but you need the submarine technician qualifications. You could ask the company to help you pay for your submarine technician school, and then you would move forward with applying for submarine technician jobs. And during that period, while you're getting your education and while you're looking for a job, you do receive the compensation that we talked about that is allocated to you during your reclassment period. There's also a budget for equipment if you need like welding equipment to do your studies for a submarine technician, or you need a laptop to study on. Like, all of these different areas have the possibility of getting financial support. And not just that, but the company also has to provide you with sort of like a professional development coach who is not just going to guide you through the process and help you pick which route you want to take, but they're also there to do things like help you write a resume or to help you write a business plan. So I just want to highlight that there is a tremendous amount of support, both financial, educational, and professional, in order to help you reintegrate into the workforce. So what did I choose? You guys might be able to guess, but I ultimately decided to start my own business. Now, I started my YouTube channel a little over 4 years ago, and it was very much just for fun. I really couldn't tell you what made me want to post my first YouTube video, because it's incredibly daunting to post anything online when you have 0 subscribers and a total of like 10 views. But I knew that I wanted to share my life and my advice for others who also wanted to move abroad like myself. But it was never with the intention of, I want to be a YouTuber. I don't even think I monetized my channel until years and years later. And I didn't really go at it with the idea of making it a career, because I didn't have time to post or upload videos more than like once or twice a month. When I was working full time, work was obviously my priority and YouTube was just my hobby. But over time, my channel did see growth. And I remember that at the time when they announced these layoffs, I had, I think, 3,500 subscribers. And I was getting more and more views on my videos. And I started to think, wow, could I make this my career? Could I actually transform my passion for showing people Paris and making videos a career? And that's what I decided to do. And it's so easy just saying like, I started a business and now I post on YouTube as a job. But the reality is that it was months and months of tears and stress and panic attacks. Like, there were so many things that I wasn't prepared for. I had to obviously start by, writing a business plan and doing market research, but then I had to do more research to understand laws and legislation and tax and accounting and copyright. And it was just this huge world of unknown things. And I was doing this all in my second language because I'm opening a business in France. But it was a lot of stress and crying, and I'm extremely grateful for my family, obviously, who supported me through all that, and Jean as well. Like, it was a nightmare of a time, but I got here. At the same time, I also asked my past company to help me go back to school to study video editing and film creation. So I was kind of doing this all over the past 9 months. Looking back now, 9 months later, I am thankful to be in a country like France where there is so much oversight and care and responsibility for people who unfortunately lose their jobs. Like, it's so impressive to me, all of the work that goes into supporting people who lose their jobs, which I don't think we see in a lot of other prominent countries. I don't want to say, but like the US and Canada, you would never experience this kind of layoff, I think. And I'm also really thankful for my past company for obviously supporting me through this journey. I am incredibly thankful for my parents and Jean, like I mentioned, for not just helping me through this process and tolerating meltdown after meltdown, but also in supporting my dream. You know, I think it's shocking one day for your partner or your daughter to come to you and be like, I don't have a job and I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Like, yeah, I'm really lucky that they supported that. And most of all, I'm extremely thankful to you guys who watch my videos and who like and who comment. You guys give me this feeling that I am, you know, creating some sort of impact, even if I'm just a small fish in the big sea of social media. But the fact is, I just wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be able to pursue content creation as a career if you guys weren't there supporting me and watching my videos. And yeah, I'm really thankful for that. Every day I wake up and I just can't believe that I get to do this as a job, you know? And the main reason why I felt like I had to make this video and put all of this explanation out there is that I am going to be going on an adventure that I'm going to document and share with you guys. And I hope that you guys enjoy coming on. But in order for me to move on with the content that I'm really excited to create and all of these ideas that I have, I really just felt like I had to wrap up that whole part of my life in Paris. I mean, it's the reason, that job was the reason I moved back to Paris and that my life here was even possible to begin with. So yeah, that is my video. That is my story of how I lost my job and how we ended up here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And again, thank you guys so much for your support for the past 4 years. I'm incredibly appreciative. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you enjoy the videos and the projects that I have coming up soon. And I'll see you guys in my next one.